What's in the Box? Presented by Sure It'll Be Grand.
And welcome back, everybody, to Sure It'll Be Grand. Specifically, What's on the Box with She-Hulk, with myself and Kevin doing our usual thing. Yes, that's him.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're back with She-Hulk. We're episode 7. Before we get into it, there's some comic book news,
just a smidge of comic book news.
Yeah.
Might be relevant to people who are interested in comic book characters who have a penchant for breaking the fourth wall and speaking directly to the viewer.
Yeah. So we got a bit of a teaser for Deadpool.
Yeah.
Deadpool 3 to be specific one.
Yeah.
To be more specific, the first one's going to be in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
This is Deadpool 3 as well, I think they called it.
Yeah, that makes the most sense.
So it is a continuation of the first two we've seen, which is great. And I think Wolverine's in it. Anyway, yeah, She-Hulk.
Actually, I want to say one other thing about the Deadpool news, because it came to mind when I found out about it. So you obviously saw the teaser for it, right? Did you see the second video they released?
Yes, I did. I very much enjoyed that one as well.
Yeah, so they talked about it being in the Logan timeline.
Yeah. Well, they didn't really say it was in the Logan timeline, to be fair.
They said it takes place before
They
Logan
didn't even
does.
say that. They said that, yes, Logan dies in 2029, but this is a separate thing.
Yeah.
They did mention that. So, honestly, I don't think... Look, if we look at X-Men timelines with Wolverine, there are 3 or 4 of them. This is Wolverine from the X-Men movies we know, and he's going to be in this. That's pretty much it, you know?
Yeah. All I've got to say is I thought it was kind of funny when I really thought about Logan from a new context, and that context being, if you look at Logan as a depiction of the Fox X-Men universe after Disney buys it.
Yeah.
As in a universe where everyone is now gone and a corporation is now making new mutants to show to us.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
That's really interesting. Completely unintentional on everyone inside's part, I'm assuming.
Yeah. How are you feeling about Wolverine being back?
I'm fucking glad to see him back. So am
I. Yeah, I loved Logan. I really did. I think Logan is arguably one of my favorite superhero movies. Easily my favorite X-Men movie. I'm sorry, the X-Men movies date really badly. But Logan is superb. So I'm delighted to see him back, even despite that we saw him die. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
Yeah, not only did we see him die at the end of his timeline.
Yeah.
Let's be 100% honest with everyone. I want you 100% think about this for a second. This is your last chance to get Hugh in the yellow and black.
Yes. Well, maybe. I know it said in the teaser that
Hugh.
It's... Yes, I know.
Hugh in last. So I don't think Wolverine is going to be Hugh Jackman going forward.
Well, we don't. The thing is, this is what I'm saying. There is more to this, and hear me out. More in that teaser was that Ryan Reynolds was wearing the grey-black costume of Secret Wars Deadpool.
True, but he also kind of wore a grey costume at the end of Deadpool 2.
Yeah, but that was at the end. The fact that they're bringing it back again... And Secret Wars has been announced in the MCU, and this is the first Deadpool movie in the MCU. I'm not going to pretend that's by accident.
Personally, I think this movie would be a lot funnier if it's still in the X-Men universe. If it's in a different multiverse, he's just part of the plot is a multiverse jump or something.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't really. I hope the whole transition to the new universe is just waved away very quickly. I don't need an entire plot to explain how they got.
What needs to happen is that he's sitting in like a recliner or whatever. A portal opens up and he gets sucked into it, and he lands in the middle of New York. And he goes, "Well, that just happened." And then Deadpool 3 starts.
Yeah. Just do that. No, I have a feeling because Hugh has said before he did want to be part of the MCU. Like he said if he gets a chance to be in the MCU, he'll do it again. I wouldn't outright say this will be his last movie now that he has access to the MCU. And also keep in mind, we can't get any more X-Men characters that we saw, like X-Men characters in general, unless they are the actors who've portrayed those X-Men characters until I think 2025, 26. That's the rights negotiated. They have no character that we've seen portrayed in the new, the kind of rebirth of the Fox X-Men universe. So, all the recasting, they still have rights to be their characters for another, few years. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Wolverine might stick around for another movie or two.
Honestly, I hope James Marsden is in it.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely fun trailer, fun follow up as well for it. I'm looking forward to it. I wasn't mad on the second Deadpool film.
I liked it.
It was all right. I thought it was a bit of a rehash, but I think it's one of those things where you either like the first one more, or you like the second one more, and there's not really an in between. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2, isn't it? They're pretty much the same movie. It's a bit, but I feel like there's enough different about Deadpool 2 that it's a little bit different. I guess. But it's got Cable for one. Yeah. Anyway, we aren't here. This isn't the Deadpool show. Imagine Deadpool had a Disney TV show that I don't think I'd want to review it. It's not even like shitting on Deadpool. It's just like I can't. We're already getting just enough meta humor with She-Hulk. Yeah, let's not. Maybe once She-Hulk is a few years out. Yeah, then we can think about it. Yeah. But even then, I think keep him in the movies. If I I need a Deadpool dose of 2.5 hours and nothing more. I need a Deadpool just a 2-year buffer between movies, because I can't be doing if it starts becoming a once a year release kind of thing for Deadpool. I would not be interested. No way. You can't keep that level of funny constantly streaming. Yeah. But yeah, let's talk about this week's episode of She-Hulk. Yes. Was fun episode. Fun episode, yeah. Really fun episode. One thing I'll say, thank God Jen in this has finally got some somewhat decent things happening to her. Not so much in the relation department where we're going to go to in a second, but in general, I think this episode was a healing episode for her, where it was now more about her caring about herself and not worrying too much about what other people thought of her. Yeah. So that was nice. But yeah, we'll go into it. She's dating her new fella, Josh, if I remember right. Thank God you said a name, because I was going to say Jake. Yeah, not Jake, Josh. Drake and Josh. Anyway, Josh. Drake and Josh. Yeah. Yes, Josh is his name. Yeah, he's meant to be he's basically acting perfect. He's Mr. Perfect. Yeah. He is interested in her and her alone. They go out to get chips and because that was the thing that they ate at the wedding together, and they're just chilling out, and she teases him a little bit about kissing him and not kissing him, bringing him in and not bringing him, and all this kind of stuff. And eventually, they sleep together. Yeah. She wakes up the next day. He's gone. And he doesn't text back for a few days. And she gets obsessed. And it's not nothing big happens around her. She's been nominated for best female lawyer. Yeah, that could have been the plot of an episode. Might still be the plot. No, it definitely will. because it'll be a gala, and we've seen in promotion material, we see She-Hulk in a gala like dress, so that's a hint to what's to come. We are going to get a gala.
That'll probably be the Daredevil episode too, wouldn't it?
Most likely.
He'd show up at a lawyer gala.
Yeah, exactly. Where else would he be? And that explains why he's also in California and not in New York.
Yeah. I mean, like, if he's not taking care of Hell's Kitchen, that entire like area just goes to shit. Yeah.
Well, I suppose Spider-Man could look after it for a little bit.
No, Hell's Kitchen is Daredevil only. Spider-Man, get the fuck out.
Some people have suggested as well that Daredevil might be around California looking for someone. Maybe a certain enemy that could be involved in what is happening in the She-Hulk plot.
So, I don't know who you're insinuating.
Okay. I'm kind of insinuating because I'm half forgetting the name right now because I have just eaten quite a big meal. His main villain in the original Deadpool show.
Oh, Kingpin.
Some people suggest that Kingpin might be there and he is chasing after him, trying to find what he's doing over there. Because we've seen Kingpin last in Hawkeye. And they drove a car into him and then shot him in the head, but he's not dead.
He's like, we've confirmed that he's coming back for like 2 more shows.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we'll see that he is not going to be in Hell's Kitchen for the first few episodes of Deadpool as well. Maybe not Deadpool, Daredevil. Sorry, D names all over the place. Maybe it's that they're taking a break from Hell's Kitchen a little bit at the beginning because, you know, this is kind of like a soft reboot.
Yeah. I don't know how much they'd want to, because like at the same time they'll not want to alienate like fans of Daredevil who like the Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio version. They don't want to estrange them by rebooting it too harshly, you know?
But I'm saying spacing. I'm not saying that they're in California for the rest of the season for him, but maybe the first few episodes. And then he returns, and then we kind of learn the new status quo in New York. It might be better to do it that way, away from what we know, introduce a few new facts while he's away, and then bring it back into the fold, you know?
Maybe. See, I honestly, I don't know enough about Daredevil to fucking go on about like opinions. I don't know how traveled Daredevil is. I think he's got a little pocket in New York that he's micromanaging the shit out of. It's all I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, to be fair, I would love to see Vincent D'Onofrio come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if he appears in She-Hulk, I think it would be weird if he appeared in She-Hulk.
I think he might not necessarily appear, but it might
be mentioned.
Yeah, it might be the reason why Daredevil is there, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so the dating kind of goes on, and like she's wondering where he is, and he's not texting back, and she seems very smitten. Like she genuinely like loves him almost. And she gets a call about a certain Mr. Abomination, Emile Blonsky, who his alarm on his ankle brace turned on. And
but it wasn't actually the alarm. It was basically the parole officer was receiving a fault coming from the inhibitor.
Yeah, that's kind of what I meant by the alarm anyway.
Yeah.
But like something went off, and he calls it, hey, could you come with me because it's Sunday and I can't get all the security people out there to help me in case Abomination's going insane. And he said, can She-Hulk come with me? And she goes, yeah, of course. And they drive out there, drive onto the property. It just turns out, he claims like, yeah, no, I didn't turn into anything. I got electrocuted the other day. He also seems to be a lot about chickens now. He likes chickens a lot.
Yeah, he's got a favorite chicken whose name I've forgotten. It's like Princess Whitefeather or something.
Yeah, and he even has, if later on when we go into like, you know, like the round table sort of idea where people talk about their problems and all that, there is a jar for chickens where people are putting tips into. Does he his wives anywhere in this episode?
Don't know what happened. Don't know how it happened to his wives. I'm really worried that they had a nasty divorces.
Yeah. That was a break in his heart, sis. I don't know.
I don't know. We know that
I don't know how poly
divorces.
Yeah,
I know how multi divorces work. So
yeah, I don't know how poly relationships work. Please, if you are in a poly relationship, let us know how that works.
How do you divorce someone in a poly relationship? Please tell us.
I don't think most people will know that, even people who are in poly relationships, because poly marriage is not a very common thing across the board.
Well, if you're in the uncommon bracket of a poly marriage and you have gotten a divorce, how did that work? Who gets what? And do you all split up? Is it just one who gets out? What happens? Anyway.
Okay, so Afghanistan allows marriage poly relationships up to 4 wives. Yeah, most of these seem to be how many wives you can have. Doesn't seem to be on the equal par. Who would have thought? Strange.
Yeah, interesting.
Anyway, she comes out and 2 super-powered people are fighting each other next to her car. One who looks like a large bull.
Yeah, this man bull.
Yes, and one who definitely looks like he doesn't fight bulls and things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He's definitely not the Matador.
Yeah, he's definitely not the Matador. Thunderball, I believe no, it's not Thunderball. What's it?
No, it's El Aguila.
El Aguila, yes. They're fighting. They seem to be super powered. They wreck her car. She-Hulk talks to them and finds out, or Jen talks to them. Well, She-Hulk first, because she throws him across and she turns to Jen. And we find out Manbull is some sort of weird science experiment.
Mm-hmm.
And El Aguila is not a matador. He is from Spain. What was it? Later on, someone makes a joke saying, Spanish is not a country, it's a culture. And it's just like, have you not heard of Spain?
No, he said Spanish is not a culture, it's a language.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah. Have you not heard of Spain?
Yeah, that was a good one.
But they talk, it turns out that he seems to basically have like a resort for superhero people, or people who think they might be superheroed, where they can talk about their troubles and their worries and gain therapy. And wasn't just me, but were you just waiting for the big, oh, ha, in fact, this is happening here, oh, and it didn't come.
Like the big, this is actually a secret evil villain meeting, and we are here plotting to rob a Costco. No, I was going into it, and I'm like, you know what? I believe Emile.
Yeah, I'm starting to think Emile might genuinely be a nice guy. I mean, I'm going to believe Bruce. Bruce is like, yeah, he wrote me a poem, and we're cool. It's like, you know what? I'm going to trust Bruce on this. If he thinks Blonsky is cool, he's cool. Now, again, we might have all been tricked, and he's going to end up being on the Thunderbolts eventually. This is just a way of like teasing things, but who knows?
Yeah.
Also,
I have to say, like, the rest of them just seemed too, not incompetent, but like, I guess bumbling is the word.
But here's the thing, right? So what I was thinking before I started thinking maybe Blonsky is actually just being sincere is that this might be a way for bad guys, the secret team that's going on, to pick out the best potential villains. Like, and the ones who are still at the therapy centers are just ones that didn't pass the test and were brought into an inner circle. Like, that generally could be a way of, how else do you hire not everyone has a Nick Fury going around and saying, do you want to join my team?
Especially for supervillains.
Yeah.
Although I'd love to see that done with Zemo. But anyway.
Yeah, that's a whole nother question, isn't it?
Let's not go into Zemo again.
Yeah. But yeah, she's still trying to keep in contact. Blonsky is very much like, hey, do you just want to talk about things? We have a yurt. You can just chill out there if you want.
And she's like, nah, I want internet connection and Wi-Fi and phone signal. So I'm going to go wander around this estate.
Yeah. I like that the show also takes a piss of a lot of like more serious tones, because when we see Jen driving up to like the therapy camp, like they have the all over the car camera like trace, and it's like like really serious, and then you just go back into her and she's just like singing on the radio. It's like, yes, I love it. I'm for that, you know.
Well, honestly, watching that scene up until the part where she was singing in the car, I was like, this is like almost exactly what they did in Doctor Strange.
Honestly, it gave me Hulk, like the Incredible Hulk vibes. It just like that whole scene. It felt like the first Avengers movie vibes, where they're all going. When it's S.H.I.E.L.D. and they have, what was it at the time in Avengers? They had the blue
helicarrier? No, the Tesseract.
Yeah, they had the Tesseract on the ground base, and it just gave me that vibe, very much like this is official stuff. This is serious. We're going to get there, and then she just kind of breaks it all up, saying, "Nah, this is stupid shit. Calm down,"
Yeah.
But yeah.
I do want to take a break from the plot synopsis for a minute to tell you that this episode of She-Hulk seemed to be sponsored by Prius.
Yeah.
Because they kept mentioning it.
Yeah.
And it was very obvious.
Yeah. I will say, like, you would think they would have, like, the Prius still be, like, invulnerable to, like, superhero attacks again. Then again, this is how they were able to talk about the Prius. So, I got hit. Oh, no. And now we have our excellent roadside assistant coming out to fix it. It's fine.
It would probably be much more distracting if, they fucking fought each other on top of it, and then afterwards she was like, "Don't worry, my current Prius is able to withstand all forms of damage from superhero attacks."
And who knows better than me, She-Hulk?
And she winks at camera,
and then she just
a bit distracting.
Then she does a fourth wall talk, like, "Yes, this is an advertisement." Ding.
I'd respect. It reminds me, and this is a weird thing to remind me of, but there's this thing where you watch on the movie Cat in the Hat with Mike Myers.
Yes, that
terrible movie.
Yeah.
So occasionally I like watching people react to terrible movies because it's so funny. And I've seen multiple people react to that movie, and right before a certain scene, they're all like, "Wow, this looks like they were trying to pitch a ride at Universal Studios." And right after they say that is the gag where it fucking stops and freeze frames on the cat as he looks into the camera and goes, "You mean at Universal Studios?"
Yeah.
It reminds that whole bit it was just like that.
Yeah.
So after shilling out to Prius a bit and Jen wandering around the compound, she eventually finds one bar of signal, just one bar.
And it's in a very interesting place.
Yes, it's in the circle, the talking circle, where a bunch of people are currently talking about their feelings, and she's going to sit in the corner texting.
Yes.
And we meet probably the biggest array of references to the comics that has been on screen in the show so far. That includes the aforementioned Man Bull, the aforementioned El Aguila,
who seems to have a very close relationship with each other.
Very close. We'll go into that in a minute. The Porcupine, and a guy named Saracen who thinks he's a vampire.
Yes, and he is a character that was in the comics, but he wasn't a vampire or thought he was one.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an interesting one.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to mix together.
Do you think it's kind of what they did with like Mr. Immortal though? Like,
kind of. I mean, they put a twist on Mr. Immortal. He was still immortal, but I mean, there's not much you can twist about the name Mr. Immortal.
Well, I mean, the character in general seems very different to his comic one outside of that.
I mean, yeah, like I went on a big thing it was the last episode, I think, but I went on a big thing about how he had an imaginary friend, which was thoughts of suicide.
Yeah.
So, That's definitely not the Mr. Immortal we got. Probably. We didn't see his imaginary friends.
No, we didn't.
But yeah, so the rest of the weird talking circle, which, by the way, there's a bunch of like posters and stuff in the background of like books and sayings and shit that Abomination has written up, and one of them I have to call attention to. It kind of looks like a dream catcher symbol type thing.
Yeah,
and underneath is written "Obama Stay."
Yeah. Which has it like I think they've mentioned the meaning of it as well. No, I had a good laugh at that as well. Basically, he seems to act like a therapist to them as well.
He's like this super zen, super spiritual, like, yeah, just talk your feelings out and like get everything out so that we're not doing, and stop acting like a vampire.
Yeah. And, for example, we have Thunderball coming back in then eventually. And Jen does not have the best reaction to Thunderball. Thunderball being one of the guys that try to syringe her in the street and attack her with, building equipment from Asgardians.
Yeah. What was it? Was it definitely Thunderball? I'm not 100%.
It was. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she literally had let's have a flashback scene right now, please.
But
and that guy,
I'm not sure
he's credited as Thunderball anyway.
Oh, he was credited as Thunderball?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't notice the credit. Yeah. Okay, that's fair then. But yeah, he came back in, he waltzed in, and I'm going to be 100% honest here, a quite dodgy looking CGI shot picked him up and threw him across the room.
It felt like they got him in a harness and put the camera at a certain angle and just pulled him up and then just CGI'd her in place.
Yeah, it didn't feel like she made contact.
No, it really, it looked very, very kind of, it didn't look great.
I think we've been pretty forgiving for a lot of the CGI in the show this far. This is not good.
No. I mean, I think they really have run out, because when we get Blonsky sitting down and getting his ankle bracelet checked, she stands in the back, holding onto a beam, and she really doesn't do that much. She just kind of stands still for most of that scene.
Yeah, I imagine this episode just didn't have the budget some other episodes have.
Yeah. But yeah, so she has a bit of a shouting match at him and kind of rough handling him until Blonsky talks her down and, things relax.
Yeah.
And this group is a bunch of weirdos. Let's be real. They are not normal people. We have Porcupine Man. We have a science experiment bull man. We have a matador. Not matador. Who is a mutant? Interesting.
He's in the comics. They never say it in the show, though.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe they just felt like S.H.I.E.L.D. shouldn't reveal another mutant before we see some elsewhere.
Yeah.
We know the mutants are here now. Miss Marvel is a mutant. Namor is a mutant.
Confirmed. Yeah.
And in the MCU, Namor is a mutant. So, the mutants are here. And now, Wolverine's coming over as well.
Mm-hmm. Deadpool,
yeah.
Although Deadpool's kind of a half mutant.
Well, yeah, Deadpool could never really join the X-Men, could he? Because he's not... Okay.
The film version of Deadpool is a mutant because his X gene was awakened.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So he did have a latent mutant gene. It was just woken up by evil science.
Yeah, evil science. God damn it.
So I want to bring attention to the Porcupine guy, because I looked a little bit into him, and I was like, oh, is his power that he's kind of like that guy from the X-Men show that I can't remember what was the name? X-Men. Oh, it was the good one. Anyway,
Evolution.
Yes, Evolution. So
there was a guy out there who's listening, who's an X-Men fan of the original X-Men cartoons, going Evolution wasn't that good.
I'm sorry.
It's
my opinion. But yeah, he's covered in spikes and stuff, so he's kind of reminded me of that guy from X-Men Evolution. I thought he was for a second.
Yeah.
But no, he's Porcupine, and those spikes are just on the suit.
Yeah, I looked it up a little bit as well. He was a scientist that tried to build this for soldiers, like to have a costume like that it can shoot like things from his suit at them, but they just went, nah, we don't want it. In this, we get the impression that he just doesn't like to let people get close to him, like he likes to hide himself. I will say this, I think this is the most comic accurate costume the MCU has ever done. Like, it genuinely is exactly like the comic panels. It really is, mask and all, it's stunning.
The only thing I have to say about that in particular is for Porcupine, really?
Yeah. That should look.
Like, my man looks like a hay bale.
Yeah, he does.
Like, but I guess we got a comic accurate costume on this guy.
Yeah, no, we absolutely did. But yeah, so she eventually sits down and she makes a point that, and it's a thing we've seen throughout the show, she feels, not that she hates being She-Hulk. I think she makes it very clear. She never hated that part. It's just that people seem to like her for this new thing. And she feels like, yeah, no, She-Hulk is cool now, but I think I'm cool as well. Normal Jen is cool as well. And, it feels like there should be some men out there who would appreciate her just being her. And that's why she's so wound up by this guy who seemed to genuinely care about Jen.
Yeah. It's like a really nice, moment of clarity for this character, because we've kind of been told this, but only through, looks.
Yeah.
Like, we've gotten, her reacting to things, and we see it on her face, how she's feeling about it. But it's really nice for them just to have her outright say it. It's kind of a nice moment of, I guess, relief.
Yeah.
Is the best word for it.
Yeah, absolutely. One other thing I want to say about it is, it's a bunch of weirdos here, but they genuinely seem like nice guys who kind of go to bat with her. Like, they first of all saying no, you are great, we like you. Even Mr. Vampire, who it's actually starts off really sincere. It's what does he say? I think you're great. I think you're magnificent and tasty. Really? No, I didn't mean that. And it's but there was actually some sincerity there. It wasn't just him being weird. It's he genuinely was no, I think you're great, Yeah.
I also have to say about Mr. Vampire, when they're talking about all the reasons why, Mr. Perfect, fucking would have, just one night standed her and ghosted, his reason is, oh, maybe he wanted your blood.
Yeah.
And you know what? Credit to the one guy in the room for having a good answer.
Yeah.
But we'll get back to that in a minute.
We will.
But yeah, and then as soon as she's done this big emotional speech about if she's Jen or if she's She-Hulk or which she prefers and her identity and stuff, after all that and finding out about what Josh did, all of them immediately go, we got to go kill Josh.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? Respect though, because, I have a few, women friends and, they usually, if it's after a bad breakup or something like that, they usually, first of all, listen to their friend and to get their emotions out and try to follow them on their emotions if they're angry at them or if they're not angry. And they kind of go along with it until a little bit later in the conversation where they kind of rebuild them and said, okay, now we're going to fucking kill him or kill her or whoever they were dating. It's just I thought it was very apt. It felt like a sincere group of it's like girls in the bathroom scene we see earlier in the season when they thought, when she appears amongst these women in the bathroom and they instantly look after her, it really gave me that vibe. It's just, instead it was a weird bunch of lads.
I'm really hoping later in the season, in the final episode, these guys come back and get a chance to beat the shit out of him.
Oh, like some sort of She-Hulk Avengers team.
Like some stupid thing. Because they've been constantly like talking about how she's in the Avengers.
Yeah.
And like, imagine like these guys come out and they play Avengers music.
And you know what? I think I get a tingle. Like the thing back of my neck would actually go up because I'm like, they're good dudes. I'm okay with this. They're looking out for their girl, you know? I also like the pitch at the end. I know it was for last, but she's like, it does feel nice to be open. And then she looks over to Porcupine and says, it does feel nice. And he just slowly like takes off the mask and he's just filthy dirty underneath that thing.
Yeah, like he was so dirty that I thought he was scarred.
Yeah, I thought it was like fire damage or something on him at first, but like, no, he's just filthy. It's weird that the moment he took the mask off, the smell came out. Like that suit is literally airtight. Like it didn't smell before. Yeah, it's very impressive. But yeah, so it kind of ends there. Or does it?
3 days earlier.
Yes. So Josh, we go back to the scene where she finally lets Josh into the house. They do the do. And he wakes up very middle of the nightish, gets dressed. He clones her phone with his phone.
Yeah. Be careful with that contactless, guys.
Yes, and that's actually a very good point. You have contactless now. Oof. I mean, who does she know? The Hulk's number? He's at the other end of space right now, so I guess it's not the most important thing. I'm
actually, like, I don't know what he's copying from her phone, I'm going to be honest.
I imagine all of it, and I because I've seen this in TV before, I don't know if copying phones is that easy by just putting a phone on top of another one. The phone, it's just, I've seen it in media before. It might also clone it in that any messages she sees, they'll see as well. True, but I'm now realizing because, so I'll skip ahead a minute. So like he walks over, takes a picture of her face. Very heavy sleeper, Jen. Yeah. That's another thing to talk about though, because first of all, we didn't see him take any blood samples. I think if we didn't see it, it didn't happen. But what I think he's there for espionage reasons. He's there now to show them when she is vulnerable. Yeah. See, I'm it's really weird because so the Hulk King, which was referenced at the end of the last episode, who is probably the leader, he got a text from Josh that was just a bunch of emojis. Yeah. And it was basically blood, radiation, party. Yeah. But again, I don't know. I think just because we haven't seen it, I think it was a really weird text to send. I think it's more along the lines of we've seen text being such a thing in this episode that they just want to reference that again. But I think it just feels like, she's not in Hulk form when she is asleep. So they might be able to capture her. Yeah. By knocking her out. Yeah. And I'll also add, I think I know why he was cloning her phone now. Go on. And he works for Intelligentsia. That much we know. Yeah. And Intelligentsia wants to ruin She-Hulk. Yes. So why don't they just leak her private information? Like, that is very topical and real, I think. It is. If she had much topical information that could ruin her. Well, I mean, like, fucking, let me see, like, you could leak stuff like her dating profile, messages she sends. You could, but the thing is, Kevin, private personal pictures. Yeah, but if we're going to talk about media, if we're talking about the dating thing, she's literally been in court with people she's dated. That's all public record. I don't think there's anything. This crowd wants her dead. I don't think it's like, we have the media again. I don't think that's it. I don't think it's strong enough. They might doctor stuff using information, though. Yeah, I mean, they can just doctor things anyway. I don't know. I just don't think it's all powerful. I think it's more that they can make a schedule around her, know where she is, at what time, who she's talking to, and then make a plans of kidnapping her by knocking her out. I think that's where they're going with this. I mean, they can also track her phone now.
Yeah, true.
You know, I think that's the big strength. Who knows? Maybe they now know where Blonsky is as well. You know?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they'll make a joke about that Blonsky as well, because Blonsky, when she's at Blonsky's, it only connects to the internet or like, you know, a phone service for a brief moment. So they weren't able to track him until now through, you know, those ways. There's one small blip. He makes a big point that, yeah, no, we don't do anything with phones. And he says, oh, it's before distractions. But I feel like there might be more to it. Well, especially for a community that is on the internet all the time, and mobile phones being that. Well,
my counterpoint to that is that he runs a commune that like just superpowered individuals can, and non-superpowered individuals can just come on site and talk.
Yeah.
Fucking Thunderball worked for Intelligentsia.
Yeah.
And is in the commune.
But that's the thing. All that makes me still think that there's more going on with that commune than anything else. We know we're going to return that commune. We know that thing on his ankle was set off for some reason. It wasn't because he went near a fence and got an electrocution. I don't think that was, like, we know he already turns back into him in like future clips we've seen online, like, so.
Well, here's something interesting to think about, and I should have mentioned this earlier because I legit forgot. El Aguila.
Yes.
The not Matador.
Yes.
We get shown something very interesting randomly out of nowhere, and it's not brought up after or before, but he can produce bioelectricity through his sword.
Yes.
Abomination says that he received a shock.
Oh, so he tried to take it off maybe of his ankle.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, again, I would say that's more a point in my favor.
I wasn't counterpointing. I realized it and I brought it back. So, I'm now siding with you on this.
Yeah. I'll say this. I don't think Blonsky is necessarily a bad guy.
I don't think so either. I think they're probably going to try and use him to do bad things.
Yeah. I think he probably is willing to bend a few rules a little bit so he can do things that he wants to do. The freedom of that. I mean, it's kind of like when he fought, Wong. You know, he did say he wanted to return, but he also left as well. You know?
Yeah. Honestly, it's a bit weird at the moment, the plot. It's a bit difficult to tell exactly what they want to do.
Yeah.
And we have 2 episodes left.
We do. And it feels like there'll be a bit of a rush coming on now.
Yeah, it always does with Marvel, doesn't it?
It really does.
Like, you get to the last 2 episodes and you're like, they're going to wrap this up?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. Unless we're going to get a bit of a hint of further seasons.
Yeah, some Marvel shows handle this last stretch more gracefully than others.
Yeah.
I think Hawkeye handled it the best of any show.
I think Miss Marvel's quite close to it.
Miss Marvel's pretty good, and I think that mainly is due to the fact that they stopped doing the world ending plot the episode before the end.
Yeah, I would say Moon Knight did not do that much of a good job with it.
I like Moon Knight, but I do feel it was rushed in the end.
Yeah.
It raced to that finish line, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay. Still my favorite Marvel show, though.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, I think, unless you have anything else to say, we'll leave it at the ad.
Yeah, no, I think we covered, like, everything. This is another episode that, like, it's easier to just cover it in broader strokes.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
There isn't a lot of minutia. In fact, there's no B-plot to this episode, I just realized.
There really isn't. And I like
it's all A-plot.
I really like this episode. I was saying to you before this podcast, I think that was my favorite episode of She-Hulk so far. It went for something. It actually did it. There was no faffing about. It's a proper, full little plot and a nice few, like, plot twists. look, it's a Marvel TV show, so we got like nice little fan pandering with cameos of characters that we haven't seen yet. I like that about She-Hulk in general. We seem to just get weirdos from the MCU added to it, which I'm okay with, like, you know?
Honestly, I like that about street level Marvel in general.
Yeah.
Is that, like, when you go above street level, everything becomes like a lot grander. So a character appearing has to be a big deal. Yeah. But when you're at street level, you can just have a guy show up.
Again, I need to say this. It kind of brings me back to this point that I mentioned last week, where so Bullman exists, right? If
Manbull, but yes,
Manbull, if he appeared during the time of the first Iron Man movie or before, on Earth, in that time, that culture, that would have been a big deal. That would have been like, what the hell? This is crazy. Like, the only crazy thing we really had before that was a part of the public eye was Captain America. You know? Yeah.
Like, and especially since he's like a super soldier gone wrong type thing.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, how the fuck did you get this from Super Soldier? What part of... I'm assuming they were trying to remake Erskine's formula. Why did you think that Bull DNA was in there? What were you doing, weird scientists sticking cow parts on people? But I will say Manbull is apparently usually a Daredevil villain.
Yeah.
So more Daredevil shit.
Okay. I'll ask this question at the end of the season because we might still get some more weirdos showing up.
Yeah.
But I'll ask you now so you can think about this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think most of these characters will show up in the MCU again?
Not in any meaningful capacity.
I look at Bullman and I liked the character enough. You know, it was kind of funny, but the costume itself wasn't exactly like, oh, this looks cool. It really did look like they just got a person and stuck bull bits onto him.
You know what? You know how I could see him coming back?
Go on.
And She-Hulk season 2, he has legal difficulties with something.
Yeah, maybe in that kind of stuff. But do you think he'll start showing up in like Daredevil-esque, shows? Like, do you think he'll show up in Daredevil?
No, I think Daredevil is... Well, I mean, like, if the new Daredevil show is trying to be like the other Daredevil show, I think that is totally totally not what they should be doing.
No, absolutely not.
Like that's just no.
Yeah.
It's I appreciate him existing.
Yeah,
but
he served his purpose in the episode as it was, and
yes,
I'm okay with that. Not everything has to have long, lasting strengths to it. Like, if he never shows up again,
Porcupine, I want him in Avengers.
Yes, he will be in the next. He'll be in Secret Wars alongside Wolverine. That's what they're going to do. Folks, we kind of ended up in a bit of a ramble there at the end, but I hope you enjoy yourself. And let us know what you thought of the episode. Let us know if you have any theories and.
Who's your favorite member of the commune and shit?
Yes. Should there be a She-Hulk Avengers team? No, hold on. An Avenge Her team.
Oh, God.
I'm telling you. That sounds like a She-Hulk fucking joke, and you bloody know it.
It does. Like, there's a reason I hated it.
They even want to do this thing like, you're alone now, and they're like, she's not alone, and they're just going to reference the girl power moments we've had in the last 2 Avengers.
Oh my God.
With just a bunch of weird dudes. It's like,
honestly,
my heart would blow for that. I'd be like,
honestly,
boys.
It being a bunch of weird dudes would actually make those moments a little better.
Yeah. No, I'll say this, because I rewatched the Avengers last 2 movies recently. I liked it with Black Widow and the woman from Black Panther. In a ditch by themselves, and them doing it. It was tough and hard, but they managed it. I just hated it in Endgame.
Oh God, it was so pandery.
It wasn't even well. No, it wasn't even. I don't mind having those moments because I think future Marvel definitely deserves more decent female heroes. Remember, like, female superheroes, in general, in big media. Kevin, mention 5 that had their own movies and they were good movies.
5 that had their own movies that were good?
Yes.
Is it Marvel only, or am I allowed to do...
You can go further afield, but it's superheroes.
Okay. Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Wonder Woman 2?
I don't feel it, to be honest with you, man.
Okay. Let's see. Well, we listed Wonder Woman.
I know what's in your head. I know what's in your head, and you don't want to fucking say it because it's a terrible movie. It's a Halle Berry Catwoman movie. I know it's there. It's hovering over you in that weird, golden, yellowy orange photo. I know it is.
Allow me to not say that.
Yeah. But I know it's the one we think of because they are so fucking few. And
well, here's the thing. Like, I was thinking Halle Berry Catwoman, and I'm like, oh, I can't do that one. And my mind then went to Black Widow. I'm like, oh, I can't do that one.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel. There's one. Captain Marvel. That one's fine.
Yeah, it's fine, but like, yeah, it's fine. I'm not going to say.
I wish I could have said it.
I wish I could love, but again, that's 2. And if I ask you, name me 5 superhero movies with...
Am I allowed TV shows?
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
She-Hulk.
Yes. And again, these are all recent, and I think on purpose since Endgame. Because of those moments of, women working together and fighting their battles. I'm really open and I welcome more female superheroes, and I think that's what Endgame tried to do with that scene. I just think it was a really poorly done scene. That's it.
WandaVision, shit. But yeah.
WandaVision. And to be fair, that's the superhero part, and we can kind of niggle on that.
Yeah. But my biggest issue with that scene is like, don't worry, she's got us. It's Captain Marvel. She doesn't need any of you. Scarlet Witch, maybe. The rest of you aren't adding much.
And about halfway through, we just see Peter Parker just as Spider-Man swinging around. All right, come on, kid. He's just like, we've run out of women. We've run out of women. Give me a guy who's close enough to be woman. Spider-Man? What? No, he's here already. Ah, shit.
Oh God. Yeah. So that's our thoughts on feminism and superhero movies. Yeah. Not even feminism, just women appearing in superhero movies. Yeah. There should be more.
I think there's plenty of really promising characters on the horizon and here within the Marvel universe, and to an extent Wonder Woman, right? But we need more. And if we need a few cheesy, crappy scenes to really let that grow a bit more, fair enough.
Now, we have been advocating for more, female-led superhero movies, but I do want to make one addendum, and that's Sony. If you make that fucking Black Cat Silver Sable movie, I swear to God, do not make that movie, Sony. Actually,
just to talk about another female superhero movie, and again, this is the best podcast to listen to the opinion on women by men.
Yeah, us two men.
Batgirl. The movie that was going to come out, and they canceled all for tax reasons.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, if that's
cost them more money than it would have if they released it.
Yeah. If that doesn't kind of show you the state at the moment of women in superhero movies, definitely need more, and good studios that back them.
Really think about that. Batgirl got cancelled, but The Flash is still coming out.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Have you seen anything? Dan, did you see that thing I sent you last week, I think?
Oh, about calling the Messiah or something like that.
Yeah, Ezra Miller has called himself the Messiah and is obsessed with guns, says reports.
Here's what I'll say about this, because I've kind of got tired about talking about Ezra Miller, because it's just a fucking awful situation, just in general.
It is.
And that's not me trying to apologize for him, but clearly he does need help. It's weird what studios cling on to while cutting off potential new ideas and stories from characters we haven't had as much on the big screen. You know, don't get me wrong, I would love a Flash movie, but, you know, why couldn't we get the Batgirl movie? I know they said it was mostly a bad movie, but you know what? So what? Like, it's fine to get bad movies. We've had plenty of bad movies, but they kind of lead to, like, you know, we all like to look back at X-Men movies and say, oh yeah, they were the good movies. Like, okay, I didn't like the X-Men movies weren't that great.
Here's the thing, say that you enjoy those movies, but take off your nostalgia goggles and you see things in the movies that just are like, what's happening here?
They're not great.
What
movies.
happens to a toad in Lightning? Everything else.
So this is what I'm saying. If it wasn't for the X-Men movies, we wouldn't have got the MCU. I think it's fair to say. And without the MCU, we wouldn't get the DC universe.
I also just want to, you know what? Feel free to attack me in the comments for saying this, but it's DC. Why are they suddenly afraid to release a bad movie?
Yeah. There must be something else going on, because they're surely not like going out, no, we have to wait till it's the best time to release this. DC, I'm not like your marketing people, but a good time isn't coming. No, like the hole is getting bigger. Yeah. Honestly, at this stage, I'm okay if they just went out flat that we're not releasing it as well. I'd be like, okay, whatever. Can we move on to society now? I saw there was like a leaked plot synopsis or something that people were getting angry over for Batgirl, and one of the things about it was that like at the end of the movie, Batgirl and Supergirl would work together to found a new Justice League. Oh, that sounds kind of fun. Yeah, that's an interesting new take, and I wonder why people were mad about it. I wonder why comic book fans were mad about Batgirl and Supergirl leading a team of superheroes. I wonder why that happened. You know, in my like darker moments of being in fandoms, I'm a big Doctor Who fan. I have made the claim that Doctor Who fans don't deserve Doctor Who. Yes. I'm seeing that now in like DC stuff and Marvel stuff, and honestly Disney fans as well. I mean, look, it's a big, most fans are just enjoying it, and they're loud assholes on Twitter. I mean, She-Hulk literally has had an episode about assholes on Twitter twice. Yes. You know, like it seems like assholes on Twitter are literally the villains of She-Hulk. Yeah. And I mean, it makes sense if you look at all the shitty reviews these people who don't have it exactly their way go about it. You know? Yeah, like there's like here's the thing, and like I've been thinking about this a lot, and I don't know how She-Hulk is going to stack up when the show ends. Yeah. But like I don't really like think of this as like a particularly amazing show. I don't think of this as like groundbreaking or anything. I just watched this and I'm like, I am enjoying myself watching this show. Do you know what this is? This is, and sorry to be heteronormative about this. This is like, if you were living with a girlfriend, you had nothing to do for the night, you plop on the sofa and say, hey, She-Hulk is on. You turn it on, have a bit of food, have a bit of wine, and enjoy the night. This is what this is, right? Yeah. This is exactly it. Do we need everything to be like Oscar-winning, life-changing material? No, we really bloody don't. As long as it's written, it's achieving what it's trying to achieve. And I think everything She-Hulk has done so far, in what it's presenting, it's achieving. Yeah, I think people seem to put this like to a higher bar than it has set for itself. Yeah. You know? Yeah. This is a 9-episode thing for Disney, folks. This is not going to end up in the Avengers, change the MCU. It's a comedy show. You know, I know, I'm not saying like, look, not everyone's, it's not everyone's comedy. I understand that. That's perfectly fine. You don't even have to like these shows. Absolutely okay. It's not for something that you have to demand to like. I'm not going to call you sexist because you don't like She-Hulk. Fucking hell. There's actual real world sexism out there. Let's focus on that. But when you have dudes who come on every fucking week onto Twitter and start bemoaning She-Hulk, a show that they claim is so terrible that he still must watch it every week. Like, go fuck yourselves, you losers.
Yeah. Like, I understand the concept of a hate watch. I have hate watched myself. Yeah. Because sometimes it's cathartic.
But do you make it your life where you then go out and tell everyone about how terrible it is? You go onto Twitter and make campaigns. You literally become the villain that the show talks about. No,
like I'll do like one rant, become a meme of it in my friend group, and then occasionally quote that rant.
Yeah.
You know?
And then in a few years you go like, whatever. Just, you know. You know?
So, this is me officially announcing I am going to personally review Tower Heist.
But yeah, look, we've now said we'd end up talking about 2 or 3 times. So folks, anyone who decided to stick around, folks, thank you for having us in your ears today. Mm-hmm. And we'll hopefully visit your ears again next week.
Really smooth exit on that one.
Yeah, entering some ears.
God, your metaphors are impeccable.
I'm going to be a real man. There was penetrating your ears at one stage, and I didn't go down that route, okay?
I'm ashamed of you for the cowardice.
No, you shouldn't be ashamed. I think it was socially the right thing to do. Anyway, folks, have a good one. Before we talk any more shite, look after yourselves, look after those around you. Don't listen to Twitter assholes. Listen to some assholes, like, that's fine, it's just Twitter. Anyway, have a good one, folks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
What's in the Bugs? Presented by Sure It'll Be Grand.